Hey guys, back here for another episode of How To Guide. Today we are going to troubleshoot a 2012 Honda Odyssey that has a cylinder 3 misfire. Now, what happened was this vehicle threw us a check engine light plus a traction light on the dashboard. I took this diagnostic tool, hooked it up, all right, and got a P0303 code. The P0303 code is a cylinder 3 misfire code on the 2012 Honda Odyssey. So that's what we are going to troubleshoot today. We're going to replace that, and it is most likely probably a faulty or a bad ignition coil, which is this unit, this piece right here. This is a coil out of the cylinder 6 coil on this vehicle. And this is what it looks like. All right, you can see the base there that inserts into the motor. All right, this is the electrical connection right here. We are going to replace this on the number 3 cylinder of this 2012 Honda Odyssey. So let's get at it. First things first, on this Honda Odyssey, we're going to have to remove the engine cover, which is really just held in with 2 plastic flathead screws. All right, there's one here, one here. We're just going to rotate that 90 degrees to the left. 1 and 2. All right. And then this thing should just pop right out. Yep, should pop right out. It is held in the back with a couple of extra plugs, but if you just kind of jiggle that loose, it'll come right out. Just be mindful that the those 2 front plastic screws don't fall loose, and then you're going to see on the back here there's a couple of grommets, 1 and 2. You just want to make sure that as you set that down that you don't lose those parts. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. On this Honda Odyssey, the 6 cylinders are diagrammed from back to front, or from top to bottom, from left to right. So the cylinders go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 1 through 3 are in the back from left to right, and then 4 through 6 are in the front left to right. And we are working on the number 6 cylinder today. So that is going to be towards the back of the motor, or the top of the motor, you could say, back here. Those 3 cylinders and the 3 coils are buried. They are buried back here, and they are a little difficult to reach. So basically, we're going to be removing this, one of these, from the back of the motor here. All right, and that number 6, or sorry, the number 3 coil that's buried back here sits right back in here. That's how far back this is. You can see this. Each of these coils is held in with a small 10 millimeter nut like this. All right, so I've already removed that nut. You want to do so carefully so you don't lose it or drop it, because that's going to hold your coil in place. Once that nut is removed, you can then start pulling at the coil and start pulling it out. But before you remove the coil, you want to disconnect the electric. There's basically a plug and play electric connection here that you just want to, there's a top tab on this. You want to press that to loosen it, to unlock that electrical connection. All right, and then we're just going to pull this out. 1, 2, 3. Boom, there we go. So that is now unplugged. You can see the top of the coil there. Let's go ahead and pull that out. Boom, that's how easy that was. Here's the bad coil. Guys, check that out. This is your bad coil. We've got it easily removed. We're going to go ahead and replace it. All right. Hey guys, before we put in the new coil, we've got to take that old spark plug out first. All right. This is going to be a little hard to reach. It's the very back of the motor, closest to the dashboard. So we're going to be going pretty deep to get this. We're going to need this deep socket to get access to it, to get access to that plug that's buried in there. All right. And we'll just see how accessible it is. There's some hoses back there, things like that. I'm hoping we can get this out without a problem. Once we get it out though, we're going to install a new NGK plug that you can find at pretty much any auto parts store. They're like 15 bucks. Not bad at all. But let's get after it and see if we can get that plug out. All right, guys, so you can see we're pretty deep into here. That's where the numbers 1, 2, and 3 cylinders are on this 2012 Honda Odyssey. 1 through 3 are back here, and then 4, 5, 6 are actually in the front near the radiator, so the front of the motor. So here we go. Here's our socket set. You can see I've got the deep socket attachment on here. I cranked on it for a while, but voila, look at this. We got the old plug out, praise God. There it is. Let's take a look at this thing. So you can see, there we go. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and replace this. All right, now that we've got the old plug pulled out, we're ready to put the new one in. I've got a brand new NGK Iridium plug here. We're ready to drop this in to the cylinder. And then I'm just gonna start by hand tightening it with this socket and this socket extension first. You can get it threaded quite a bit in there just by hand tightening it first. And again, we don't have a lot of room to work with. It's really tight back there. So we're going to start with this, get it as tight as we can, and then we will grab the wrench to take care of the rest of it and get it nice and hand tight in there. And then we'll add the coil. All right, guys, we are ready to insert our new coil here. You can see what we're talking about. It's gonna be really important that you line up this, threaded screw hole with the screw that's gonna hold this in, all right? Because we can't see back here, you're gonna have to kind of feel for the spark plug cavity to make sure you've got this lined up correctly. So we're going to slide this in. Now we've got some hoses back here that we're kind of also working around to get this slotted in correctly. We're just going to push that hose back a bit so we can get this get the coil slid in there. All right, we got it slotted in. Line things up there, push it down. I should say before we push this all the way down, let's go ahead and remember we need to plug in this electric connection. That's going to be way easier to do when you've got the coil elevated a bit, where you can get access to it. So let's go ahead and just pull that out slightly. All right. And I've got my light back here. Here's the electrical plug. Gonna go ahead and plug that in. Listen for a little bit of a snap to make sure it's snapped on tightly. All right. You don't want it coming loose. All right, we got it back on. We are going to tighten this into place here with the 10mm nut that we pulled off previously. All right. The best way to reattach that is just with a simple socket set wrench. So we're going to use that to tighten things into place, and then we should be able to start it up, and we'll see if we're good to go. All right, let's tighten this up. Now again, these hoses back in here really make things tight, so it was a little bit difficult to access, but just kind of pointing out that coil sits right back here, right in front of this hose. Fortunately, I was able to get this thing out pretty easily just by pushing this back a little bit, but there's just a few things like that that you've got to work around when you're in the back of the engine compartment like this. So I think we are pretty tight. We got the electric connected. Let's go ahead and we'll replace the cover on here. Make sure we got everything else cleaned up, taken out so far as tools, and then we're going to fire this up and see if that check engine light goes off and see if that error code goes away. All right guys, here we are with our 2012 Honda Odyssey. We just replaced the number 3 engine coil. Remember, we had the two error lights on the dashboard here. We had the check engine light and the traction control light, which was impacted by the check engine light. We're going to go ahead and start this up, and I've cleared the codes, so let's see if those lights stay off. All right, here we go. Good to go. Those codes were right in front of us, and they are now staying off. We'll let it go for a few more seconds, but as long as that's not popping back on, it looks like mission accomplished.